Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is my friend Amy Kaiser. She has been working in the healthcare field since 1997 as a CNA and then an LPN. She decided to make the transition into a more natural form of healing and has felt better getting to know people, helping them, and becoming a Reiki master and a massage therapist, and most recently added a certified Mercier therapy practitioner, and practices as a business owner and mother of three beautiful, busy children. She understands the stress and the balancing act of life the stress that the balancing act of life can be. This is a huge part of what led her to start her own business and to help people heal. She knows that the stress and worry can be a major impact on your body, and she believes that in order to gain the most benefit and effort to heal, we need to heal more than the physical body. Absolutely. When she wants to help people find other options for healing, more holistic therapies, and can help when medicine isn't working. As a result, she has made sure that the soul healing is part of a place where love, peace, and tranquility is, a space where you can relax and empty your mind of worry. She is looking forward to helping anyone that she can in finding that peace and well-being and finding your optimal health. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm awesome today.
That's great. You look fabulous. I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
that you're here. I love you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Um,
you.
so I would love to just dive in and have you share something because I know Amy. Amy's one of my good friends. So I'm super excited that she's here with us today. But I would love you to share something with the audience that is interesting about you and your life.
Well, I actually have a bachelor's degree in high school English education. I wanted to be an English teacher so bad because all of my middle school literature, not spelling and grammar, I don't want that stuff. Literature, reading, escaping, adventures, yeah, I wanted to be just like all of my literature teachers in middle and high school. And then I spent 4 years in a private college, racking up lots of bills. Yeah. And I got out and realized high schoolers are not very fun to teach at all. And it was honestly at the time, it was just so hard to get a job. There were like 200 applications for one job. So I just said, screw it. I'm going back to nursing school. So I did.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how long were you in the nursing world then?
I was 8 years.
Okay.
I still have my license. I just don't practice.
Okay, for sure. I love it. So you're very much a caregiver and love helping people, obviously.
Yeah, I've been trying to teach and heal my whole life. I just didn't realize it.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing how those things like come through our whole timeline? We just don't really see them until we turn around and look back and we're like, oh yeah, that was all very significant.
I know. I've thought that many times.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive in and tell us about a significant time in your life that fear had held you back from living your life fully.
Okay. So the first thing I thought of when I read that question was when I was deciding to leave my ex-husband, because obviously I had 3 small children. I wanted to leave actually before I even had the third. But when you're a stay-at-home mom, I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. I didn't have my own money.
Yeah.
And, the kids were small. I was worried, I'm still very much attached to old ideals, old beliefs. And a lot of it wasn't even the fear of whether or not I could make it on my own. It was the fear of what would everybody else think and the fear of other people's judgment. And I'm so glad that I didn't leave at that time because then I wouldn't have my sweet little Matthew, which he's my favorite. No, he's
That is documented now.
no. They're all dear. They're, it's really amazing just to see their each little individual personalities. But I digress.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
So you're the
actually,
fear more around like what other people were gonna think about you not being with your husband and
yes,
like having this perfect family kind of thing.
it was fear of judgment. It was fear. There was financial fear, obviously. And then fear of how are the kids going to be,
Yeah.
but it really, I mean, all the fear had nothing to do with, I wasn't afraid of my ability to get through it and prosper. I didn't fear or question whether or not I was strong enough. It was all of those outside things. And so I actually, what I did is, I tried so hard. We went to counseling. We did this huge marriage boot camp that literally there was an initial weekend and then it lasted 3 months long. We had we really tried. I really tried through all of that. And ironically, that marriage boot camp, helped me decide to leave.
Yeah.
Because it really showed me that, he wasn't doing the assignments. He wasn't doing, the things that they had asked us to do. And I just thought, I don't think he's a bad guy, but he's completely incapable of giving me what I need, giving me what I want, what I wanted. And also realize that it is about me and, my growth and my happiness. And I'm not responsible for him and his growth and his happiness.
Yeah.
Which is huge. It's a huge revelation. And I mean, obviously it makes sense, but when you're in the thick of it and you have little kids and, you're only working part-time or stay at home. So yeah, once we went through that and I just realized, this is it. He did something after the marriage boot camp. He did something that was incredibly disrespectful to me, online, actually, via Facebook. And I realized in that moment that he did not respect me. And you cannot love someone or something that you don't respect.
Yeah.
So I just knew that it was never going to improve. He was never going to change. And so that after that happened, I started my 2-year plan. I got a storage unit and I started slowly accumulating furniture and started picking up a shift here and there, decided to go back to massage school because I knew that, nursing is a very lucrative career and I loved it. I loved, because I worked in nursing homes my whole life.
Yeah.
So I very much love elderly people. But as I was changing and realizing that this wasn't the life I wanted, my internal ethical system, I guess, or morality, I could no longer give old people medication that I felt wasn't helping them. So I knew I didn't want to stay in nursing, and I thought, I'm already doing Reiki. Mm-hmm. Massage is a great, addition to that.
Yeah.
So I started going to massage school. Again, accumulated some furniture here and there. Because I knew that when I got out, I wanted to be able to be my own boss and set my own hours.
Yep.
So that I'd be available for my children who, were now going to be split between 2 houses. So that was the first, I guess, time period that I really, thought of when I read that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a huge time. That's a huge transition, huge shift for not only you, but everyone that's around you in your life. And it makes sense that there's fear around everything else. I love that you say like you didn't have any doubt about yourself and your own abilities because we're women. We can do what we want. We can make it happen if we so choose it.
Right.
And I love that you made that clarification. But it makes sense that, there's fear around everything else, especially the fact that you're wondering what the heck are the, how's it going to affect the kids? And that's the biggest thing I think people worry about. So that's great that you brought that up. So when the fear was holding you down and you were, because obviously you said that lasted a while and then you had your third child after you already knew that you had those thoughts and you were going back and forth about the fear of everything. So when the fear was holding you down, where were you mentally during that time, and how did you feel about yourself?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was unhealthy, like physically, mentally. I had started my spiritual journey. As I said, I had already been doing Reiki. I'd already been changing internally. But I think emotionally, I didn't necessarily have a ton of confidence in myself.
Yeah.
Which I know sounds funny when I just said I didn't question my ability, but how do I explain it? You question your decisions. Like, should I just suck it up for the kids for another couple years? Should I wait until, middle school? Should I wait? So I think it was more of just like a lot of questioning and a lot of doubting. But physically, I felt gross.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for my body, I guess. But yeah, I was healthier than I had been probably 3 or 4 years prior, but I still had such a long way to go. So there was still just this like, am I ever going to be really happy? Like, I'm not happy here. And so there was just a lot of internal self-work to do still.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you were going through the changes and, you finally decided to jump ship from, letting all those thoughts and questions hold you back from just jumping and making the decision to say, this is it, I'm done, and ready to move forward and make the changes. How did relationships around you change? I mean, obviously that relation changed, but what about like friendships or other relationships in your life that were surrounding your marriage at that point? How did that shift and change for you?
Well, like with my sister, most people were pretty supportive.
It's just interesting because you said, you were worried about what everyone else was thinking. So I'm really curious to hear, like, how did the relationship change in your life around that? Because it wasn't bad as you thought it would be, like all that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, it wasn't. I definitely got some judgmental phone calls from, and I don't want to blanket everybody with like one sweep of a brush, but I have someone in my life who is like what I call an uber Christian.
Okay.
So, he told me that my children were not going to go to heaven because I was leaving their father and divorce is not biblical. So obviously I was like, dude, that is so wrong. So that relationship became kind of strained.
Right.
I think, the relationship with my mom, was a little kind of tough. She said kind of the same thing. She didn't come right out and say that. But it is interesting because the people, I had a lot of girlfriends who were very supportive. But then as things, you kind of like move out of the situation and you grow and you evolve and you're like, some of them were actually supportive, but from a very selfish aspect. So they were supportive of me leaving him because, I went on like, a party binge and they wanted someone to party with,
Yeah.
Overall, everyone was pretty supportive. I had a few people, who were like, well, it was what the thing is, it's their fears that they're projecting onto me.
Yeah.
Right,
and absolutely.
And also I do feel, especially for like my mother's generation, that I don't know if jealousy is the right word, but I think about all of the women that I know in my life who are married to, assholes, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But they're 60 and they've been married to him for, 40 years. And I'm wondering if maybe they wish they would have left when, they were younger, or maybe they want to leave now and they figure, well, what's the point of leaving now?
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. I think that there's a little bit of that on both sides. So again, when people are judging you and they're just putting their fear onto you, it has nothing to do with you, because I was told he has a great job. He doesn't cheat on you. He doesn't beat you. He doesn't drink. He comes home to you every night. What do you have to complain about?
Happiness?
And I'm like, he doesn't like me. We're not friends, you know? So that was, and the hardest part is that the most judgment, what little I feel I had, did come from my immediate family, you know?
Okay.
But I mean, my sister and, you know, most of my brothers, they, you know, they were awesome. My dad didn't say much, but.
How many siblings do you have?
I have five. Well, there's five of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I have three brothers and a sister.
Okay. So yeah, for sure, all of that. So when you were jumping ship from the fear, right? Like you said, there was this time that, I mean, you guys did the work, you did the therapy, you tried to do the therapy, see if it would work, and it really helped you. And so when you were jumping ship from the fear, what was holding, like, what was the jumping ship point? Was it the time that he posted the things on Facebook, or was it before then that you really decided? Like, what compelled you to jump ship from the fear that was holding you back for so long?
The decision to actually leave was when he posted that thing on Facebook.
Okay.
Or commented on my post. That was, in my mind, that was the decision to leave. I stayed there for 2 more years, again, kind of, you know, making a plan. I felt I needed a plan.
Okay.
I felt very strongly that I have 3 kids. I didn't want to live in an apartment. I didn't want to, you know, I had very specific things that I felt needed to happen to make the transition as easy as possible for the kids. But for me, my nephew, the decision to actually file and like, this is it. My nephew had brain surgery, and he's fine. You know, he's fine and great and fabulous and everything. But in that moment, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna cry again. Like, right. I'm watching my brother and sister-in-law go through this with my nephew, thinking to myself, if I had to go through that with this man, he would not be supportive. He would not be able, he couldn't be like my brother was with, you know, his wife. And then it makes you think of your own mortality, because here I'm like, this 2-year-old is laying here.
2? Oh my God.
He was 2 at the time. Yep.
So scary.
I mean, he'll be 7
in May. Question everything, right? Like, it makes you question life.
Yeah. So I just thought, number one, I know that I wouldn't get through. I mean, I would get through a situation like that, but I knew that he would have support. He just wouldn't be supportive in the way that I would need. And then also, I just thought, you know, looking at my own mortality, like, I don't want to live the rest of my life like this.
Right.
You know, and that was the moment that I decided to actually get a lawyer and file. That was in November, and I still didn't file until July, you know. And when I handed him the papers, he was freaking mind blown. He had no clue. And I'm like, literally, I've been telling you for 4 years that I'm not happy and something needs to change. So it's like, I don't know how clear I can say it. So yeah, I mean, it just, you know, it just takes time. You have to be ready, and things kind of had to, you know, fall in line. And
well, how long were you guys together?
We were together for 10 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense to hear that it was a huge, like, a process. It wasn't just like, oh, one day I'm just done and I'm out. You know, this is not how it works. You worked on it. You did the work figuring it out if it was the right move. And it just took you years to, like, figure out the pattern that, you know, you're like, yeah, it's just not changing. We're not growing together. It's stagnant, and you didn't want to live your life that way. So it makes sense to hear, like, there's a timeline that
well, yeah, I mean, it's a process, you know. I mean, if it would have been different if you didn't have, you know, if I didn't have children, or maybe if the kids were older, but, you know, I mean, you deal with what you have at the time.
Yeah. You have to think about the present and, like, where you're going in the future and how that fits together and all of that. So yeah, wow. Okay, so what advice would you give for overcoming fear or moving through it or just simply living life with the fears?
So I would say, first off, I don't remember how I answered this question.
That's okay.
But I would
I love that
say,
you're going to do it off the cuff now.
yeah, right. I would say, again, most of the time what you fear won't happen, you know? And also, are those fears actually yours? Or have they been put on you by someone else?
Mm-hmm.
And financial fear is not a good reason to stay in a situation at all.
Money comes and
Because,
goes.
yes, exactly. Exactly. So I know that, you know, people are always stronger than they really think they are. You know, you can do so much more than you think you can do.
Absolutely.
And all, you know, and to sound cheesy and cliche, like all your hopes and dreams are on the other side of fear.
True.
You know, and a friend of mine said, you know, she said this to me. She's like, what's your worst case scenario? Worst case scenario. And I said, my worst case scenario is that I have no money and I have to move in with my parents. And she's like, big deal.
Right.
And I'm like, they will drive me crazy. And she's like, big deal. It's temporary. So It was like, you find your worst case scenario and then you figure out how you can deal with it, you know? So I would say you're stronger than you think. The fear is not even logical. And everything you want is on the other side of it.
I love it. Totally agree. Totally agree. That's awesome. So I'm not even going to say anything about it because that was great. So, and you, just to comment, like you did mention something about like living your truth and truly being happy. So, I mean, that's it, basically in a nutshell.
And you know, as worried as I was about the kids leaving, you know, you have to think about like, what kind of an example are you showing them? Yeah. You know, I didn't want them to think that that is what a relationship was supposed to be like. So it's like they were my reason for staying and they were my reason for leaving.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's exactly it. You know, we're, as parents, we are setting examples for them. And is that what you want them to know, see, and hear, like all of this stuff? But
and as far as living your truth,
that you knew that, like, you know, that you didn't just like up and leave. Like it wasn't a rash decision. Yeah. It was literally the process you went through. It was doing the work. It was doing the therapy. So when, if those questions ever came up, like you're prepared, you know that you gave it your all, and you had to make the decision what was best for you first, and then your family second, like as a whole. So yeah.
Well, and two thoughts on that. I had people say to me, well, why didn't you leave earlier? And in my mind, I had to know that I did everything that I could do. Yeah. And when you only have one person trying, at least that's how I felt at the time. I mean, you can't make a relationship work with one person. Right. But then also, as far as living your truth, I have friends right now who are in miserable relationships. Yeah. And they're every single day they are living a lie. Because it's like, you know, some of them are, you know, having affairs. Some of them are maxing out their credit cards. Some of them are, you know, drinking too much. It's just like these, and the reason that they're staying is this massive fear of judgment from critically, like, I mean, in all these cases, very religious family members, you know?
Well, I think a big part of it too is that we are all, like, our parents' generation, us, like everyone, we have been programmed from the beginning to think that, you know, you go to school, you get a good job, you find the person of your dreams, like you have a family, like all these things that are programmed into us to make us think like that is what you do, that is how you live your life, that's how you get the happy life. Yeah. And it's just so much more than that. And I think that yeah, it's just a process for people to figure it out and and realize that, you know,
Yeah.
there isn't one pretty picture. This is not
And
what
the
it is.
process takes longer for some people, which is very frustrating for the people who are further along in the process, because it's like, I want to support these friends, but I can't. The energy in which they're living and the situation is toxic to me. So it's like, you know I was there once, but how, you know, you got to set those boundaries and stuff. And I always tell people exactly like what you were just saying. You know, I had everything I was supposed to want. And I had friends tell me like
the happiness in there.
Yeah, like you have, you know, a good looking husband and your kids are healthy and you have a nice house and you have a boat and you have land and you have a pool and you have this and you have that. And I'm like, but we don't like each other.
Big freaking deal.
Like we never do anything together. So it's like I had everything that I was supposed to want because we were never given the option or encouraged, at least I wasn't, to think, you know, maybe this isn't what I want, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's so true. And finding out those things definitely takes time. And I love it. So, okay, I love dreaming and like manifesting the future. So tell us, where do you see yourself 5 years from today?
5 years from today,
Yeah.
I see myself hopefully living in a different state, but owning a larger, more comprehensive business where, you know, like a holistic healing center where people could come and, you know, get several different kinds of treatments, like a little like mini retreat center, you know?
Yeah, it's all about the experience, baby. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, you know, happy, healthy kids.
How old will your kids be in 5 years?
I don't even want to think about it, dude. My oldest is going to be 13 in May, and I can't even handle it. So,
yeah. I mean, just thinking about that, I love it because all the things that you're going to be growing with your kid, like teaching your kids, helping them grow, like you're an amazing mom. So I just thinking about those things, I think is important to realize, like time is precious. And the fact that you said, seeing your brother and his family going through the hard times with their son at 2 years old, like thinking about how short life is and realizing that our time is precious, especially with our kids.
Right.
It's really powerful to think about that. So, but yeah, so I love that you said, you know, a whole facility of like holistic energy things that will be happening. That's super fun. And in a different state, do you want to go to a warmer state or just not Wisconsin or?
Yes. Where I'm going south, wherever it is, I'm moving south.
Cool. I love it. I can come see you then. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So I would love for you to tell us, where can the viewers connect with you personally?
So my Facebook page is Soul Healing Massage and Reproductive Wellness. I also have another page called Mercier Therapy of Central Wisconsin. They could email me directly, Amy at reproductivesolutionswi.com. And then they can just check out the website, which is soulhealingmassage.com.
Awesome. Amy, thank you so much for your time. This was so fantastic. And if anyone is thinking like, man, she has an amazing story, I can really connect with her, I want to know about Mercy Therapy, whatever it is, reach out and connect with Amy. She's an incredible human being. And Amy, thank you so much for your time today and coming on. Is there anything you want to leave the viewers with?
Just know, oh God, I'm going to cry again. I have my period. Okay, I'm emotional.
I'm an emotional person, but
what's that?
I said I too am an emotional person. Yeah. Go for it.
No, just know how loved you really are. Know that you are going to be supported. The people who you need will come to you when you need them. And just know that, I mean, you're so much stronger. You can do so much more than what you're doing if that's what you want to do. You just, you got to push through the fear.
Absolutely. Hashtag I do what I want. That's my life.
Right. I know.
If you want it, you can have it.
I say that all the time.
Strong enough. Seriously. I do. I love it. Well, that's great. Great advice. I love it so much. I'm going to end on that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Remember to love yourself and live fearlessly. Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful day. Thank you.